Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 49 of Freshly Pressed. Today we have with us Ray Lolacher from Saskatchewan, Canada. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. Tell us a bit about yourself. What's your background like, and how you got interested in comics in the first place?
Well, my background is like I got into comics when I was like a kid. I My first comic was like a Batman comic, I believe. And then you when I was younger too, like I'd sit in the basement, I'd go through my parents' stuff, and they had like old Western comics down there, and like those collectible, those big full size comic books that you'd get from like the 50s and the 40s and that. So I was like, I always
Yeah.
was interested in that sort of stuff. And then my mom must have noticed it because when I was around 9 or something like that, she bought me a big bundle of comic books from the Sears Clearance Center. It was at the time, and it was like 50 books in a bundle, and I just flipped through those pages like crazy. Eh? So yeah, ever since then, I've just had a love for comics, and then I got into the art aspect, right? So then I start drawing, and then it kind of snowballed from there, right?
Nice. Nice. You have published a couple of other comics before, right? I think the
Yep,
Fallen series before this. Yeah.
yeah. Fallen 1 and 2.
That's awesome. What were your were apart from Batman? What were your other like favorite comic books growing up? Like any characters in particular?
Well, I was really into Spawn. I was like,
Oh,
number one for a long time, and then X Men, of course. I think most of everybody was into X Men at one point in time, right?
yeah,
And then,
yeah.
believe it or not, I really liked Youngblood. I know it's not a very
Oh,
popular
nice,
choice amongst people nowadays, but I still like Rob's stuff. Is such dynamic poses, and it really got me into to drawing more. So it was a positive influence for me for
nice.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's your personal choice, right?
Yeah, but
So yeah, that's amazing.
if I had to pick a favorite character, it would probably be Green Lantern. Yeah, he's number one for me.
Nice. Which one?
Hal Jordan.
Which Hal Jordan? Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's a great choice.
I got this
Um,
comic, the Green Lantern issue 1, where he jumps off the cliff because he's all depressed because he can't get rid of the ring, and his life has gone to hell. So he's like just going to end it, but then he can't even do that because the ring stops him. I was like, oh, just kind of fell in love with the character at that point. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool twist, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think Green Lantern in general is pretty amazing. I think we've talked this in multiple episodes about that as well. Like Green Lantern is great for introducing diverse and new characters, and it gives a very neat way of doing that without actually disrupting any of the existing stuff. Um, it's also um, because I have been reading the Phantom Lantern series with my daughter, and she absolutely loves Jessica Cruz as a character. Um, it just shows how many possibilities there are with Green Lantern and
Oh yeah,
that
it could
whole
be any shape, form,
universe
person,
in
doesn't
itself.
matter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's pretty interesting series, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, like, I think in general, the whole universe, like, it's like a universe within the whole DC universe itself. Like, it's it's so rich and it's like lore, and there's so many things to the whole corpse as well, the guardians of, and and things like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it has such a wide backstory that you can go on forever, right?
exactly. That's so amazing to hear. And like you said, X-Men, everyone loves X-Men because I think, again, it's pretty similar. X-Men is so broad. There's so many kinds of X-Men that,
Yeah, I'm sure there's
um,
one character out of the lot that you could, sort of relate to, right?
exactly. Which one do you relate to
Well,
the
I
most?
was like, I was a huge Wolverine fan forever. I still am, but I kind of shifted and I got more into like Gambit. I really liked Gambit. I liked his
Mm,
powers and his style. Kind of cool costume. And that was my
amazing,
number one. I
amazing.
switched to.
That is so awesome. Yeah, Gambit is very cool. I wish they made the Gambit movie already.
Oh, I know, right? Or at least have a better adaptation of it, right?
Exactly. Cool. Tell us a bit about your campaign. I hate the morning. Looks like a very cool uh, comic about a vampire.
Yeah, yeah. So I normally do superhero type stories and artwork and I think it was last year I really got an urge. I was like, wow, I really want to draw some horror comics, right? Because I love horror comics too, vampires, the whole idea of it all. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to wait around for somebody to hire me to draw it. I'm just going to do it myself. So I did it again. Right? I'm
That's
very
awesome.
impatient when it comes to when I get the urge to want to draw something. It's like, is this going to happen? So, and I love drawing sequential artwork. So it all started
Mm,
with that. And then
that's awesome.
the party in the woods, is kind of like almost an 80s movie, sort of 80s slasher movie. I kind of thought that'd be a cool setting where the vampire comes alive and then he meets some party goers like a Friday the 13th or you know Jason or whatever, right? So kind of
Mm,
that sort of
mm,
vibe to it.
yeah. Awesome. So can people expect really creative kills in the in the comic?
What's that?
Can people expect really creative kills in the comic?
I
Because I
think
think
so.
that's
Yeah,
the
there's
biggest
going to
thing in
be some
this.
good ones.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing. And also, the staple of like any slasher movie is having a bunch of motley characters, some unlikable ones and some likable ones, and then killing them off
Exactly.
creatively.
Yeah,
So,
you don't know what's going to happen next, or it's hard to predict, right? So, and I painted so like the cover on that I hand painted with oil paint. I
wow,
actually got the original. I brought it with me here. This is the original,
that's so amazing.
and then
That's fantastic.
I scanned it onto my computer and I used that for the cover. And there's also 4 pages inside the comic book that are they'll be like I painted them with oil, the sequential pages. So
Hmm.
and I'm telling you, that's actually more work than it sounds. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I thought, well, I've seen some artists do sequential work with oil paint, but yeah, it's quite the
Oof.
undertaking to really do because oil it takes so
Especially
long to
when,
dry. So I mean,
exactly,
you
exactly.
do like and it's layers too, right? Just like anything. So to do a page for that, I bet you I worked. It's probably like 2 weeks per page.
Wow,
Yeah, it was a
that's
bit.
amazing. Wow. And did you do it on like, did you do have to do it on a canvas?
I actually
or
got some paper. It's like a cold pressed paper. They recommend that for
mm.
oil paint. So I was able to still paint on my lap like I do with my drawings. So I didn't have to put it up on the easel, but I ended up with paint all over my arm half of the time, anyways. You kind of forget, right? You lean into it, and then you're like, "Oh crap! I got it all over myself again." So it's like, "Oh well." A
Wow.
little bit of Varsol
Yeah,
on the
that
arm,
that
and it's good.
that's amazing. It did come out really well. I don't know if it's because of the oil, or is the cover that we see on the screen digitally painted, or
No,
is it
that's all
a
oil paint. Yeah.
oh wow. Yeah, it does
Same with
bring out like
the
a
variant
certain.
cover I have in there. That was done with oil paint as well.
That's fantastic. That's amazing because I feel like the oil brings out a lot of richness into the colors, right? Like I think it does bring out that certain brightness and richness in the colors.
Yeah, you kind of get more undertones and something you don't really get with the digital art. I don't think like it's. I mean, there's some digital art that's fantastic. I don't know if you could even tell if it's digital or not, but you know,
Wow.
I still I think the texture is hard to match with oil.
Exactly. Exactly. I think the big thing that oil adds is that texture and kind of adds like a depth to the whole art.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think you can feel that, especially in this cover. It's fantastic. Amazing. Tell us a bit about some of the rewards on your campaign.
Well, they're just basic rewards, pretty much. Like you have your digital comic reward, and I also have one that I'm offering, the black and white. So I was originally going to do the interiors with black and white, but the printer told me that they were going to charge me for full color because I had the four
Yeah,
color pages in there, and I'm like, oh. So I was like, okay, I might as well do it all in color then. So I'm offering the black and white too, though, because that's how it was originally supposed to go. But and then you got your physical comic book, and that's with the original cover. And then I have a Indiecomics package. So I asked some other creators if they'd be willing to lend their comic to this campaign, and a few of them they jumped in on it. So I'm very thankful that they actually did. I appreciate that for sure.
that's amazing.
Uh,
Yeah,
I actually have my other two comics that I did, Fallen 1 and 2. They're in the digital package in case anybody wants to check those out as well. And then I have I signed the cover for the physical copy, and like use like a nice bright marker or something. So it's definitely you're going to see it. It's not going to be in a black marker on a black background or something. So yeah, there's that I'm offering for the original and the variant covers, and then I
that's
believe I got a retail package, and then the vampire drawing.
right.
So I'm offering that. It's you get a 5x8 picture that I'd pencil and ink and send it off with the comic book if the you know it's just it'd be a vampire. That's what the drawing is going to be. And I don't know. It's kind of going to be random. It's whatever vampire I guess I'm in the mood for. But
Mm, mm.
it's definitely going
That's
to be
awesome.
a cool one.
That's amazing. Are you planning to offer the original uh, oil cover that you painted, or at some point
I don't
as a
know if I'm
stretch
ready to
goal or
part with
something?
those. It'd be expensive.
Yeah,
It'd be pretty expensive because I spent so much time doing them. It'd
yeah,
be hard
for sure.
parting with those for sure,
Yeah,
man.
and they're definitely very precious.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, I agree on that.
yeah. It's hard to part with artwork sometimes, but.
It is. It is.
especially when
That's
it's
that's
something memorable, right?
yes, very very true. Very very true. And if this was your like first time doing that, it's even more memorable because it has come out beautifully, and so yeah, great work on that. By the way,
Thank you,
it
man.
is a
Yeah, I
stunning
appreciate
cover.
it.
Yeah, yeah, uh, amazing. Um, do you also like horror? Like you, do you like what kind of horror movies or horror comics or
Oh,
books do
I
you
love
like?
horror movies like Cabin in the Woods. That's probably like my favorite horror movie. I think I just love the twist at the end where they. I don't know. Have you seen it?
Yes, yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't want to ruin it in case you didn't see it.
I'm pretty sure most of the horror fans have seen it at this point. So
Yeah, the twist at the end where they find out that it's all generated creatures and everything. I was like, oh, this is too
yeah,
good. Yeah, I
yeah,
love
I
that
know.
show.
I love the
Yeah,
fact that they turned the whole formula on its head. It was incredibly like it was yeah funny,
yeah, the guy's
hysterical.
freaking out. What the hell's going on, right? Yeah,
Very true. It does give me a bit of actually the original Evil Dead kind of Army of Darkness kind of feel. Like
yeah, for sure, right? Yeah,
yeah,
Army of
yeah.
Darkness. That's another classic. When he's trying to read
So
the title or remember the title of the book, and he just starts mumbling the words, right?
I actually love the fact that those movies don't take themselves too seriously, and it just adds a whole different layer of like fun to it rather than like
Yeah,
being overly
exactly. I mean,
serious and yeah,
it can't be just all hack and slash, and then it just kind of gets boring, right? You got to have some humor in there so people can relate. And
exactly,
I kind of put
exactly,
that into this comic too a bit. There's definitely some humor in there, so people get a few wisecracks in, and then
yeah.
on with the vampire stuff, right?
Also, I think like there's plenty of other like I don't, what we do in the shadows, things like
Oh
that.
yeah, that was good
Where
too.
that was good. Like even the original movie of. Have you seen the movie? What we do in the shadows.
Oh
The
yeah,
one
yeah.
that
The movie
yeah
is. I don't know if the series lives quite up to the movie, but it's pretty close. It's good still.
yeah yeah. Still pretty close, but yeah, definitely the movie is really well done because
Oh
it
yeah.
was yeah.
I don't know. The first time I seen that, I wasn't sure what to expect. And then I'm like, I thought it was like going to be like one of these scary horror movies, right? And then it turns out it was like a comedy. I was totally thrown off.
Yeah, I think that was the whole idea to like throw people off because, and it's not just a comedy. It's just that they're playing it straight. They're playing it like they're going through the day.
Yeah,
Like a day in the life of of a 500
some
vampire.
ancient vampires. Yeah, yeah. Like because I mean, I'm sure they live normal lives like everyone else, right?
Yeah,
Having
yeah,
dinner parties and whatnot. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. I think Netflix released this movie called El Conde. Have you seen that?
El Conde. I don't think I've seen that one.
It is about a Chilean dictator who's secretly a vampire,
Okay. No, I
and
haven't seen that one.
and it is incredible. It is very subtle. It's a very subtle satire, and uh, it's done really well. Like
Hmm.
it's like it's slow moving, but it's very like it's like a portrait of a vampire who's just tired and he's trying to change his perception in people's minds. People think that he's dead, but he's just living outside the city, and they think that he was a thief who's like a bloodthirsty thief who just did wars for the sake of it, and then like he just wants that to change because he hates that like being remembered as like a bad guy.
Oh yeah,
uh, yeah
I'm gonna have to watch
yeah
it now. It sounds pretty good.
yeah It is actually quite well done. Yeah,
Huh. Yeah, there's lots of good ones. I don't know. I'm a big horror fan lover. I love them all. Except for the
yeah,
new Exorcist. That one wasn't good. It wasn't good at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
Don't watch it.
Even the sequels of Halloween, the new Halloween's coming out, and I'm like, just stop it. Just
Yeah,
I don't
it
want.
starts getting a little tiresome. I'm also
Yeah,
not like a huge fan of Scream, but I could tolerate it. There's some good parts, but then it's just like I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
It's a little bit cringe.
My favorite, some of yeah, yeah, some of my favorite horror movies are from like this time of like late 80s. Like either George
Monster Squad
Romero's.
or something.
Yeah, no, the thing is probably my like one of my
Oh yeah, The
favorite
Thing
horror
was
movies
good.
of all time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that show too. Yeah, lots of suspense
yeah,
in there. Not too many wisecracks in that show, but it was just so well staged, right? Yeah,
exactly,
and I'm a big fan of
exactly.
The Shining. That's a good one too.
The Shining is amazing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and the
Did you
the
see
sequel
the
wasn't too
sequel
bad
to that?
either.
Yeah.
Doctor, what was it? Ah, Doctor Dream or something? Or no, I can't remember now.
No, even I can't remember it.
It's Doctor something,
But
but it was
yeah,
pretty good with Ewan McGregor.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It
Doctor
was pretty
Sleep.
good.
It was Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep, that's
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, when McGregor is actually quite a good actor, and I
yeah,
love him in anything pretty much.
yeah. I don't think I've seen a bad movie with him in it. So
Yeah, yeah. Even the mediocre stuff like Star Wars Obi-Wan and stuff like that is he elevates that a little bit, like despite
I
all
still
the
loved Obi
all
Wan. I
the
know a lot of people were like bashing the series. I'm like, this is great. I thought, right?
I didn't love it, but as I said, I like Ewan McGregor. He's good in everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Maybe if it was a
he
different
has
actor, it
this.
wouldn't have been as good. But he plays the part so well.
I agree. I agree. I think one of the things that he adds to Obi-Wan's character is a lot of sassiness, and I think that character requires a bit of sass
Yeah,
to
well, the original one was so serious, right? And I
yeah,
think yeah,
yeah,
once
exactly.
you got Obi Wan in there, it's like so much sarcasm, and yeah, it is just perfect for the role.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Amazing. So yeah, I know we've been talking about these things, but uh, you- this is one of the things that I love to ask people. So, what are your top five pop culture things? Could be a movie, could be a book, could be a comic. Um, across the genres, doesn't matter which genre it is. You know.
Well, I think well, number one would be like I don't know, comic books. I don't know. I'm a fan of any kind of comic book, really. Like I even teach comic art to kids. I do
Oh,
workshops,
that's
so
amazing.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I have a particular favorite one because I just love them all. But that's got to be my number one thing. And then I watch way too many movies. I'll tell you that right now. I
Yeah,
see too much. But I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and like the Star Wars movies and all that, and all the superhero stuff. I'm all down with that. I just love all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. And then books. I like the R.A. Salvatore. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
writes Forgotten Realms, Wizards on the Coast. Yeah, he wrote. I don't know, anything that guy writes is gold to me. I like all of
That's
the. He
amazing.
did the what is it? The Crystal Shard and like the Drizzt Do'Urden series where he was like in the Underdark. Homeland and all that.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm, mm.
and then I don't know. I don't know what else there is. Just movies and comics, yeah, and novels.
I know, I know. This, yeah. What's okay? Then I'll probably reframe it. What's the thing that you like the most in last couple of months? Maybe like which comic did you like the most in last couple of months that you read?
I actually got oh, what the heck is it called now? Oh, my brain doesn't want to work. Hang on a second. I'm gonna
That's
look it up.
okay.
I took pictures of it because I liked it so damn much.
Oh
Uh,
wow,
it was something epic.
something epic. That's what it's called.
Yeah, it's called something epic. It's done by Image Comics, and it has I don't know how you pronounce his last name. He's a German guy.
Okay,
Uh, Seisman Kerensky.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
he drew for Spawn for a long time, and
Right.
yeah, he made his own comic. He actually wrote it too, and I'm telling you, it's fantastic. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it's about like a kid that has like the power to see anything, sees all kinds
Okay.
of things that normal people can't see, and so he sees like superheroes to vampires to cartoons to and he just kind of he's in awe because he's like, how come nobody else can see this stuff?
That is so fascinating.
Yeah, it's a
That's
really
that's
good series. I recommend it if you haven't seen it yet or heard of it.
definitely. I hadn't heard of it. I should definitely check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I really like that one for sure.
Hmm.
That's pretty awesome. And for movies, let's see what movie have I seen? I watched too many, like I said. I don't even know. I've seen it probably, and I just kind of put it in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, seen that one.
Yeah.
Actually I watched. I went to the theater and I seen that new Zac Efron one the other day,
Right.
the Iron Claw.
Oh yeah. How was that?
Yeah, it was actually really good. I liked it. It was a really actually more of a drama movie,
Right.
but man, he got buff. Like holy crap, did he get? I was like, that's Zac Efron. Like the guy's like ripped. And this
Wow.
guy's like the little geek that used to dance around on the Disney show, and like it's like this guy's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah, it's
uh.
about like a wrestling family, and they this kind of tragedy seems to follow the family around, and that was
Hmm.
really well done.
Interesting. Zac Efron is actually quite a good dramatic actor as well. Like, I didn't actually realize that, and I watched a movie of his. It's a very small movie with just two actors. I think it's called Gold. That movie.
Gold, I think I might have seen that before. Yeah, wasn't Matthew
Yeah.
McConaughey in that or something? Or
No, that's a different movie. Or maybe I'm just remembering the name wrong. It's an Australian movie actually, and
okay,
yeah, Zac Efron with another Australian actor, and they find gold and like somewhere in Australian outback, and they're trying to like hold on to it without like like any other person trying to discover it.
yeah,
It
they're trying
becomes
to
like a
hide what they found it
survivalist.
in.
Yeah, it becomes like a survivalist movie.
That reminds me
Um,
of that movie. What was it? Was it Susie? Or that was another one that just came out, like the action one where it's like kind of World War II.
yeah,
You
yeah,
see that one where he finds the
yeah,
gold and then they come after him and oh man, that was
yeah.
brutal.
That was brutal. Yeah, I think it was like John Wick to the power of 10.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, well, how can this guy still keep going like as if? But it was so good, like this crazy, funny, and I don't know. There was so much good stuff in that one too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
much action,
I think
kind of brain
every
overload.
now and then, yeah, yeah, exactly. Every now and then something comes out from like Nordic, which is like pretty crazy like that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it kind of surprises you.
Yeah. Do you remember that movie about it's called Iron Sky, which was about, I think, Nazis on the
Oh
moon.
yeah, I kind of remember. I watched a little bit of that. Yeah, yeah, where the Nazis have a base on the moon and all that. That was crazy.
It's a crazy, ridiculous premise, but it's actually like incredibly funny and
Yeah, it was pretty
um,
entertaining. It was, yeah, like you said, it was just kind of ludicrous, such a strange idea that it was comical, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, nice. So what are your plans for this series? Like, is it like how many issues is this
This
arc,
is just
and you is it
one
just
and
a
done.
standalone?
Yeah,
Oh wow, nice.
yeah. It's like I like my main focus is on finishing the Fallen series, and then maybe after that I'll get into some other stuff. But yeah, I like I said, I had an urge to draw a horror comic, and so I was like, you know what, I'm doing it. So I put Fallen on hold for a bit because I had a bit of a brain fart, right? So I couldn't think right, and this was a nice little break, so I could kind of reload and get back onto the series. And yeah, it
That's
was a good
amazing.
break from it. Yeah, so I wanted to do a standalone comic of just a horror, and I thought, what better creature in a horror comic than a vampire?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
It's such
it
a
is a
classic.
classic, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think sometimes that reads that actually helps you, uh, get back to the original idea. You give it a break and you stop thinking about it, and when you come back
Yeah,
to
because
it,
I mean, I
you
think
get a new
I was
perspective.
getting to the point where I was starting to overthink too many things on it, and so I was like, I just maybe I need a break from it, and so I just use this as an excuse.
That's a great one. Yeah, and that's all the more reason that this campaign should be backed, because it's a unique comic. It's
Well, I wanted to try painting too. I wanted to try painting in a comic. It was kind of on my to do list, and I didn't want to do it with the Fallen series because then we'll change up the artwork and it just kind of doesn't fit right. So I was like, well, what better way to try it out than on something like this, right?
absolutely,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
I think it's a pretty original sort of thing that I don't think a lot of indie comics have oil painted pages in them for sure. Like
No,
I know
not that I know of.
there's a few that do oil painting like in the big two, but it's a I've never heard of oil painting in a indie comic anyway. So
Wow. Yeah.
it's a
I
original in
know.
that point.
Yeah, yeah. I know that we were talking about Richard Fairgray earlier, but his previous campaign, Ex Wives of Frankenstein, he basically created a paper mache cover. So
Oh
he
yeah.
made a mask, a face out of paper mache. He painted it with oil paint, and then he made a digital scan of that and put that as his comic book cover,
Oh really? I
which
didn't know that. That's
is
cool. Neat.
it's very cool. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty original.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is pretty original. Great work on this. Like it, if you can show the original once again, it was
Oh sure.
fantastic. That's
Yeah,
an
I
incredible
just added the
original
title
paint.
in after because I was like, what if I mess up on the title? I'll ruin the sky, and then I'd be all upset. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's like with oil paint. If you mess up, it's like we're talking days before you could repaint it. So it's not something you
Wow.
really want to muck up with a title if you don't have your
Absolutely,
letters straight or
absolutely.
something.
Very true. Very true. I
Yeah,
think obviously that's the part digital makes easier, I guess.
yeah. Like I mean, I was I'm in the process of coloring this comic now. Like the other pages with digital, and I'm doing the coloring myself for that as well. And and I'm going through the steps because my last comic actually I had somebody do the flats for me. Uh, I'm gonna feel bad if I don't remember his name, so I'm gonna look it up. I got to give him credit because I've been doing the flats on it. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
terrible. Why did I decide to do this? You know, like it sucks. It does. It's just a life sucking thing, man.
mm,
Denardi,
mm.
yeah, that's his
Tenardi.
name, and he's
Right.
really good on the flats. He did an excellent job. But you know, I'm
It's
just kind of like,
amazing.
oh, I got to learn it eventually. So I'm kind of forcing myself into it because I want to learn how to do it all on my
Yeah.
own. So you know, it's. But he did a fantastic job on the Fallen series for me there on issue two,
That's
and then I did the
fantastic.
colors.
Yeah.
But the colors are the fun part. That's where you can play around and. But doing the flats, like, oh, they suck. I'm telling you, these
Yeah.
colored
Yeah.
flatteners, they don't get enough credit. Like, it's a terrible job. I mean it.
It looks like a very hard job to do, to be fair, on them. Like it's yeah. I've tried it and failed. So
I mean,
myself.
like if you put a pencil or a paintbrush in my hand, I'm pretty good with it. But yeah, when it comes to the digital coloring, it's a lot. It's like a big learning curve. There's so much to
Mm,
learn, so many
mm,
different tools, and you know, like where to find them, and then you're like, oh wait, I don't even have that kind of tool. So then you go searching the internet for that, right? So it's yeah, it's a process, but it's
yeah,
kind of fun
for sure.
learning it too in the same aspect. It's just yeah, the flats are boring. They're just boring. So you're basically selecting each character, and then you put a generic color on them
Mm,
that isn't really used anywhere else, and then you kind of
mm,
go around selecting all the other characters and doing the same thing, right? So and then you kind of break it into sections for like their face and then their jacket and then
yeah,
you know their hat sort of thing because it's all different colors. So
yeah.
that's what doing flats is. It's just outlining and then
Yeah,
coloring it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a lot of hard work for sure. You're sitting like hours and
I
hours
can tell
just
I'm
doing
putting you to
that.
sleep just telling you about it.
No, no. Yeah, I've tried it before myself because the last time I tried like so I'm a big fan of if I'm even if I'm the writer, like I just try to draw it myself, even if it's the shittiest thing that has ever
Yeah.
been drawn, because I just want to like visualize what I'm trying to
Well,
write.
sure, exactly. You got it in your head, and you're like, maybe if I could put it on paper, and then I got a better idea of how it would look. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, you know,
So
some
I
artists
did
like I like it. Like when I get uh, commissions from other writers to draw something, I actually like it when they give me a little example. It's like kind of something to go by. Like, okay, yeah, I get that now, right? It's kind of, and
exactly,
then instead of
exactly.
kind of drawing something out, and you're like, uh, hopefully this is something that they were thinking of, right? Like, I hope this is
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
But yeah, when they
yeah.
give you a
It's
decent kind of outline or explanation, or even like a little thumb drawing of what they had in mind, it's so helpful.
very true, very true. Especially, I think not all scenes or not all panels are like at least for me like I'm not married to all those like 100%, but some scenes I'm really particular about, like I need to put this detail in, and if
Yeah,
I don't visually show that detail, the artist may not be able to understand the importance of it. So yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like maybe you want the character to wear your grandma's necklace or something, and so you know,
Yeah,
it looks like this. Or
yeah,
I did
yeah,
a
exactly.
historical piece with Matt Wildy, and and he had it set in the old west, and he was giving me description of the clinics from that time era and like where they were located And so was googling up all this stuff on what they looked like, and then uh, he had the train station, the New York train station there in like 1910 or something. So I had to look up that to use it for reference. So it was kind of neat though. Like when you got that kind of example, it's like, okay, this time era of this building or this kind of car. It's really
Yeah,
helpful, I think.
yeah, nice. So you did talk about flats, but let me ask you this: I've do you prefer, like, apart from the cost aspect of it, black and white versus color, especially for, like, for horror, or
I don't know. I like black and white, but I draw in black and white, so
yeah.
they look cool when they're colored. But I was the reason I was kind of going in black and white was because I was gonna try and keep it with the noir sort of
Mm,
look to it, like the old horror movies from like the 20s and old Dracula and that sort of thing. So I was gonna go with the noir, and I also thought I might save on printing. That was another
of
aspect.
course. Yeah,
It kind of came into play, and I was like, well, it might work out for both worlds, right? So then I thought, well, but then they told me that they were going to charge me for color on it, all the pages. So it's like, you know what? I'm just going to do it in color.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes
I'll
sense.
offer the black and white PDF if anybody wants to see that.
Yeah.
But
No, that's still a fantastic idea. I think I do oftentimes. I remember with Jeff. Do you know Jeff Schiller's?
yeah,
Yeah, Magic Powder
magic
and Elf
powder.
with No Name. Yeah, yeah. When I got both in black and white and color for that, it feels slightly different because not because the story reads differently or anything. I think in some cases black and white does add to the whole, like, feel of the world a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, especially I think I feel like in horror it does wonders.
Well, it's like with the story, it kind of starts out. It starts out at the campfire, and then eventually they start getting led into the woods. So it progressively gets darker throughout the comic, right?
Yeah,
Till it's
yeah,
like almost completely dark, and
yeah,
then something happens. And I don't want to ruin that.
yeah. No, absolutely don't.
It's part of the surprise, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So we're coming close to time, but I was about to ask you to just pitch your comics before we go, and so yeah, just give us a quick spiel of your comic, and yeah,
All right.
the stage is yours.
I Hate the Morning is a horror comic, and it's rated M for mature because of language, gore, and a little bit of nudity. Not a lot, but uh, don't want your kiddies reading this stuff. And it's a story that takes place in the woods with a bunch of college kids kind of sitting around a campfire, and then their partying wakes up a dormant vampire. He's been sleeping for some time, and from there, an incident happens. So they start back on the road to head back or away from the campsite, and then the vampire comes out, and it's a horror slasher type comic with a little bit of
Hmm.
comedy, and I think it's if you like the '80s slasher horror movies, you're gonna love this kind of thing. I think it fits right in with that.
Nice. That sounds fantastic. Looking forward to this one. I'll back it for sure, and
Awesome, thank you.
especially because, yeah, I think no worries, and especially because I loved what you did with the cover, the whole oil painting thing. I just absolutely loved that. I'm
Yeah,
I'm also a huge fan of anything, like any physical media. So anything that bridges that gap between a real thing and the digital is is something I absolutely love. So yeah, great one
Yeah,
on
you're
that.
telling me, yeah, the physical comic is still king. I don't care.
Yeah,
I back a lot of digital comics too, but when you get the physical, it's like, okay, yeah, this is the real deal. It feels good in your hands, and kind of toss the
absolutely,
pages around,
absolutely,
pick it up when
100%
you
agree
want
on
it, and
that.
then instead of having to go, oh, okay, now where did I leave that on my phone, right?
Exactly. No, there's obviously not, and it's not just related to comics. Like for more long comics, I can still read on my phone and iPad. Despite Kindle and everything, I find it extremely hard to read novels on like on a digital medium. Like I actually cannot read novels on Kindle or any other like device. I have
Yeah,
to get a paperback to actually
yeah, a
read it
novel, yeah,
properly.
it's something different. I don't know if I could handle it either, but I haven't tried it even. I don't. I
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of got to have the book in front of me because I fall asleep with the thing half the time too. So
yeah,
it hurts when the phone hits you in the head. It'd be easier with a soft book, right? It kind of bounces.
very very true. Awesome. On that note, thank you for making time today, Ray. I really appreciate it. All the best for your campaign, and yeah, really great having you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Sarab. I appreciate you having me on your show. It's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, awesome. Till next time. Bye bye.
All right, see ya. Thanks.